This video features the best brawlers you need to be playing in March 2025. With the new season and the new brawler, let's see how much the meta has shifted so far. Alright guys, the first brawler we're going to be talking about is going to be Gus. Now, a reason why Gus has cracked the top 10 this month is because his super is a great way for him to carry his team. If you're playing with a bunch of randoms, then you can use your super onto yourself every time and increase your survivability so you can try your best to cause pressure by yourself. Even though Gus is a support brawler, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do to get the win. Now, using your super onto yourself might be the best way to get the most amount of value possible out of his spirit animal star power. Whoever you use your super onto will be able to deal an extra 25% damage for the next 5 seconds, and that can come in clutch in whatever game mode you are playing in. You can use your super onto yourself, gain the shield, and then go aggro to defeat a weak enemy with the additional damage buff. Now, not only is spirit animal a great aspect of Gus's kit, you can also run his cookie popper gadget. When activated, all spirits on the map explode, dealing 20 to 40 damage to the enemies. This is a great way to defeat enemies that are lower than 2240 health. As soon as you connect with your shot, you need to be spamming your gadget button so you instantly pop that ghost and defeat the enemy. Alright guys, the next brawler we're going to be talking about is going to be Otis. Now, Otis is a really good brawler right now because of his DPS output. With Otis dealing 920 damage minimum per ink drop at max level, I mean that's pretty damn good. If you multiply that by 3 ink drops, that's already 2760 for 1 bar of ammo. If you are running the ink refill star power, you can deal 3680 damage for 1 bar of ammo. And of course, if the damage gear is active, you'll be dealing even more damage. So yeah, I think you guys kind of get the idea at this point. Now, definitely one of the best parts of Otis's entire kit is going to be his super, right? Otis has such an amazing super that will mute the enemy whoever Syl is attached to for the next 3 seconds. This is great when being pressured by tanks and assassins that can deal a lot of damage up close, or that can deal a lot of damage in general. This super allows Otis and his teammates to secure kills a lot easier because you can capitalize when the enemies can't attack or do anything to gain pressure. But the main reason why Otis is cracking the top 10 list is because of his hypercharged silent stunner. When activated, Otis's next super will stun enemies for 1.5 seconds upon impact. This is pretty much like an overkill that makes Otis's super that much deadlier. Most of the time when you mute the enemy for 3 seconds, you can burst him down with all of your ammo no problem. But now with the hypercharge stunning the enemy for 1.5 seconds, it will make it even easier, especially since you'll have all the stat buffs from the hypercharge as well. Alright guys, the next brawler we're going to be talking about is going to be Janet. Now, Janet has been rising in the meta ever since she received her hypercharge of Magnus Opus. When activated for the duration of Janet's super, she has complete control of her movement as if she was on the ground, and she also no longer automatically flies forwards during it. Janet also receives a 25% speed boost, a 25% damage boost, as well as a 5% shield boost. This allows Janet to be more versatile when moving around in the air, which definitely makes a difference. Now, another reason why Janet's been rising in the meta over the past couple of months is because of the damage buff that she received. Back in June of 2024, Janet's main attack damage was increased from 980 to 1000. That doesn't seem like a big buff, but it does change interactions that gives Janet more of a chance to take down her opponent. It could definitely be better, but with how good Janet is right now, her damage output is in a good state. But of course, what makes Janet truly annoying is going to be her super. The fact that Janet's super charge rate and hypercharge charge rate isn't that hard to achieve, it makes getting it and using it that much more frustrating. Janet having that super to fly into the air and escape danger can be a clutch way to stay alive and keep control of the map without going down. Especially now with the hypercharge giving Janet more versatility, her super is better than ever now. Alright guys, the next brawler we're going to be talking about is going to be Ashe. Now with Ashe, you need to be throwing your super onto the enemies to charge up your rage meter bar. The most important thing is using your super to help you get raged up, right? So you want to be using your super onto the enemies so you can have the rat porters hit the enemies and get your rage charged up. If you can surround the enemies so that the porters guarantee connect onto them, then that's your best shot at making the most out of your super. Now, something that's going to help you guys play Ashe even better is running his first bash star power. As long as you can consistently hit your main attacks, but especially hit your first attack at full ammo, that is going to be key to getting raged up as fast as you possibly can. Rage is the most important aspect to Ashe's kit because without it, he is absolutely trash. Now, of course, just like all the other brawlers in this list, the only reason why Ashe is this high in the list is because of his hypercharge Rat King. Now Ash before he received his hypercharge was not really that good. I know I'm gonna get people in the comments saying that Ash was better since he got a buff to his rage meter, but it truly didn't make that much of a difference. This hypercharge allows Ash to play more aggressively due to the stat buffs, and it makes chaining his supers even easier. Alright guys, the next brawler we're going to be talking about is going to be Frank. Now Frank has cracked this list because of the rework to his main attack delay and the addition of his hypercharge. Frank's main attack delay now decreases whenever his health gets lower. This has made Frank completely broken because his attack cooldown when he's about to die is basically nothing. This allows him to kill anybody in the game as long as he has the ammo for it. And of course, like I just mentioned earlier, we can't forget about Frank's hypercharge as well. Frank will be able to fire his super from all directions in a huge radius, and it helps with keeping the enemies far away from him first off, but secondly, it's hard for enemies to escape its range once they are within it. Also considering that the hypercharge charge rate isn't extremely difficult to achieve like Miko's, it makes getting it and using it even more game breaking. Now considering how bad Frank was before his hypercharge and all the reworks, I mean it's kind of refreshing seeing him this high in the meta now. I mean Frank used to be an absolute pain to play because the enemies could easily just run out of your main attack range or your super's range before it actually lands on the ground. But with the changes to Frank, he's become a lot more playable, a lot more annoying, but I think it's definitely deserved for a brawler that has been stuck at the bottom of the meta for so long. Alright guys, the next brawler we're going to be talking about is going to be Stu. Now Stu is a great hard carry brawler if you have low ping. Stu has the easiest super to charge in the entire game, and that makes him perfect for frustrating the enemy team. By using your super to double, triple, or even quadruple dash, you can distract the enemy team and dodge incoming projectiles to survive. Now yes, the multi-dashing and everything with Stu's super is great and all, but his kit in general is just very solid. No matter if you use Stu's speed zone gadget to help your teammates move faster, or run breakthrough to destroy the map to your liking, you can't go wrong with either gadget. Same thing with Stu's star powers. Zero drag is a great star power to make it easier to dodge incoming projectiles and travel further across the map. However, a lot of really good Stu players run Gas Heal because it overall helps Stu's ability to go aggro and stay alive longer. But the true reason why Stu is landing this high in the list is because of his hypercharge Infant Nitro. Stu's super can be used continuously while hypercharged. Stu also receives a 26% speed boost, a 25% damage boost, as well as a 5% shield boost. This hypercharge will make it easier to score goals in Brawl Ball since you can self-pass to yourself even easier. You can even use the hypercharge to just travel across the map faster or heal back up to full depending on which star power you are using. Alright guys, the next brawler we're going to be talking about is going to be Maisie. Now the reason why Maisie is a really good brawler right now is because she was constantly getting buffed throughout the second half of 2024. She received a buff to her super charge rate and 2 buffs to her main attack damage. The main attack damage buff is the thing that really put Maisie over the top and brought her back into the meta. She was pretty bad since her huge nerfs last February, but she is back yet again. But another reason why Maisie's pretty good right now is because she's great at countering other top brawlers in the current meta. Maisie can defend herself well against close range brawlers, so try to use this to your advantage by either dashing away or pushing back close range brawlers that sneak up onto you like tanks and assassins. With the added slow from her Tremor star power, you can also efficiently charge your super due to the enemies being slowed down. But no matter how good Maisie is right now or how bad she was last year, like something that's always been pretty consistent with her is her build. Her super combined with her Tremor star power and disengage gadget can make the enemies drop the ball, push them away from the goal, stun them briefly, slow them down, or provide area control if the enemies are grouped up together inside a Brawl Ball. This makes her a highly versatile brawler in Brawl Ball because her very fast super charge rate and high damage output allows her to eliminate enemies quickly if they're fired accurately. Alright guys, the next brawler we're going to be talking about, this is going to shock everybody, it's actually Hank. Now the only reason why Hank is at the top of the meta now is because of his brand new hypercharge homing Fischls. When activated, Hank torpedoes will now curve towards enemies or a wall if its path is obstructed. He also gains a 24% speed boost, a 5% damage boost, as well as a 25% shield boost. This allows Hank to gain more value from his super, and by gaining those stat buffs as well, it makes Hank even scarier to face on those closed off maps. Now whenever you're playing Hank, I really recommend you try to remember this tip that I'm about to share with you. Now when you're approaching an enemy, always charge your bubble in the opposite direction of that enemy. When the bubble is at its maximum size, quickly rotate the attack joystick to aim towards the enemy and immediately release. This strategy catches the enemy off guard, as they will not be able to gauge a safe distance from you while your bubble is not facing them. Now in the current meta with all these new top brawlers and all these new hyperchargers, I really recommend running this build when playing Hank. The best loadout for all maps and modes is going to be the barricade gadget, the It's Gonna Blow star power, and of course use the damage and health gear. This is because Hank has one of the highest burst damages in the game, which can be greatly boosted with the damage gear and the It's Gonna Blow star power, helping you get within range. And of course the health gear is going to be good because Hank has terrible natural regeneration and you want to spend as little time as possible to heal up so you can immediately go back to attacking again. Alright guys, the next brawler we're going to be talking about, this is going to be another shocker to you guys out there. It's actually Mr. P. Now just like Hank, the only reason why Mr. P is at the top of the meta now is because of his brand new hypercharged Super Porters Assemble. When activated, Mr. P throws a home base with more health. The home base will spawn Robo Porters with higher health and faster movement speed. Additionally, Mr. P can also have up to 2 porters on the map at the same time. Mr. P also gains a 24% speed boost, a 15% damage boost, and a 15% shield boost. This just makes Mr. P 10,000 times more annoying since these porters are essentially on steroids now. But another reason why Mr. P is pretty good right now is because this kit in general fits pretty well in the current map pool. Mr. P's attack is unique in that it bounces after hitting an obstacle or target. If you throw it at walls, you can hit enemies behind them kinda like a thrower. If you hit a brawler, the attack can hit them again if they stand still or are running away from you. This will effectively double your damage per hit against fleeing targets. And I find it pretty funny and crazy that they gave Mr. P a hypercharge because, you know, honestly, without a hypercharge, his porters and super is still very annoying. Now regardless, I still recommend that you continue to set up a home base when taking control of lanes in battles. Mr. P's super can be charged consistently, which allows them to secure control faster using their super. It also means it's safer to bring the base further into the battlefield where it can be more of use. Take it to note that sometimes spawning a new home base is better than waiting for a porter to spawn, since a porter immediately spawns right when you place it down. Alright guys, the next brawler we're going to be talking about is going to be Juju. Now when playing Juju, I would recommend staying on the normal ground most of the time when facing close range brawlers. As long as you can outrange the enemy or don't have any problems connecting with your shots, you want to be standing on the ground to deal that extra damage. You can't ever go wrong with dealing more damage, so try and lane brawlers or play on maps where you can stay on the ground most of the time. Now another part that's still very strong about Juju's kit is going to be her numbing needle star power. Enemies hit by Juju's super attacks will be slowed down for 1 second. If Gregory wasn't already broken enough, having the star power will make it harder for brawlers like tanks and assassins to escape Gregory, and even make him a defensive tool to help Juju stay alive when being pressured hard. Well anyway guys, if you guys enjoyed that video, I highly recommend you just go check out this video right here.